Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got Joe Rogan commenting on the DC plane crash that took place recently. A very sad event. Many people passed. Rest in peace to all those people. But Joe Rogan talks about it, but also comes at it from a very tinfoil Speedo perspective. So I'm telling you right now, make sure you have those on. I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm just going to go through a bunch of information. It's going to stem from everything from who passed away on the flight to showing you a direct what was supposed to happen versus what actually happened from a bird's eye view type of thing. Then we're also going to play Trump and what he thinks about it all. And then we're going to play something that's very alarming, the director of the FAA, and when he was questioned by Senator Ted Cruz. Very interesting stuff. Alarming as well. Let's get into the first clip.
But you can't start now.
I got real close, and then the universe gave me a whole bunch of signs.
Bro, because even the best writers in the world will lay that bike down.
Yep.
So it's like, you out here, you haven't ridden a bike ever or in 25 years. It's like, you going to get up out there.
You ever see the one when the dude is flying down a country road, he hits a deer?
No.
Oh, this dude is like on one of those race bikes. Boom! Flying through the air.
Bro, I saw one the other day where it was the other way around. It was like the end of a parade or something. And there were girls in the street, and this guy, a bunch of motorcycles went by, but only one girl got hit.
Oh, God.
But it was like,
oh, God.
Oh, man, that's,
vehicles.
Yeah, but you can't
So
start.
you didn't see this thing today. A Black Hawk helicopter collided with a American Airlines flight over D.C. Yeah.
Over D.C.?
Over D.C., yeah. And they plunged into the Potomac, and everybody's dead. And there's video of it. There's a fireball in the sky. The helicopter collides right with the plane, explodes in the sky. Watch this. Boom. They explode and collide in the sky, and then this is the plane.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. And it's only, I mean, it's not. There's nothing fortunate about it, but it's fortunate that it landed in the river and then it didn't land on apartment buildings, and kill a bunch more people.
Man.
I don't even know how that happens. I've never heard of something like that happening. And then where did the helicopter emanate from? Where did it come from, Jamie?
Probably Andrews.
Because this is a military helicopter.
Andrews Air Force Base, I'm guessing.
I don't understand how that's possible. I don't get it, but I don't know anything about flying.
Man, you know what? Honestly, man, it comes close to happening a lot.
That's so crazy that a military helicopter collides with an American Airlines jet.
Yeah, and I don't think it was some kind of malfunction. It probably was bad communication. Somebody got wrong information.
Yeah, maybe. Unless we find out that someone was on that jet. Like someone who had like some
important was on
gravity
that jet?
drive scientist. some dude, he's at the forefront of quantum computing. And he's got a laptop with him that he's trying to deliver to somebody in Saudi Arabia.
This is why I checked out, bro, because it's so hard to take everything serious because it's like we live in such a ridiculous time where that is the chances are more than zero that what you said is the case just now.
Right, more than zero.
It's like we live in a ridiculous. We don't trust anything.
Right.
I don't. So it's like that could be somebody. Because my next thought shouldn't be, I wonder if somebody important was on that jet.
The other thought was that you can control those helicopters remotely. You don't have to have pilots.
No way.
You can.
You can fly a helicopter remotely.
Yes. They use artificial intelligence now not just to fly helicopters, but also to fly jets. And when they use jets that are controlled by artificial intelligence versus jets that are controlled by the best pilots we have, the jets can controlled by artificial intelligence win dogfights 100% of the time.
Yeah, but they gonna. I mean, listen, because all I have to judge
this is the tinfoil. We're putting on some tinfoil.
Yeah, but all I have to judge my artificial intelligence is the Google Gemini and ChatGPT, and they be up.
Yeah,
so
but this is just consumer grade.
Propaganda.
This is consumer grade that didn't exist a while ago. And want some coffee?
No, I'm good.
And exists now So here it is. Black Hawk remote control demos have been performed by Sikorsky Aircraft and Lockheed Martin to demonstrate the ability to remotely control a Black Hawk helicopter. These demos have shown the potential for autonomous flight and the ability to perform missions without a pilot.
Okay, but here's the other thing now.
But this is the thing. If it's such a super sophisticated piece of equipment, how is it not, if it is being piloted by a person, how do they not have sensors that detect where the planes are? How is that even possible? That you could be in a place where planes are flying 500 miles an hour, left and right, all over the place, landing and taking off, and you're going to fly through that and you don't know where the planes are? That seems insane. That doesn't even seem possible because, like, how could you exist as a military aircraft if you don't have a comprehensive analysis of everything that's around you all the time? We have sensors. We put them on jets. Why wouldn't we put sensors on the helicopter?
Well, they probably do have them.
So why didn't it work?
We're going to find out pretty soon.
Will we even know?
Or we'll never
but
find
everybody's
out.
dead, right? So how do you know when everybody's dead? They think the pilots are dead of the helicopter. I believe there was there supposed to be 2 people in the helicopter? Three people in the helicopter. And was it like 60 or 70 people? 60 people in the plane are dead.
Damn, only 60 people on the flight.
Small flight.
Yes, it was mostly a figure skating team. Figure skating.
Man.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing. I was saying it would have to be a group of people. Because if they just wanted to take out one person, why waste a helicopter? Like there's better ways to kill one person.
Yeah. Well, also, you want like the worst press possible. Kill a plane filled with young figure skaters. The sweetest, most delicate people, like twirling around on the ice. I mean, we think of them like they're almost like superhumans. You know, we don't even want to think about. That's why, like, when that Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan went down, nobody even wanted to believe it's possible. The figure skating community's got thugs. Remember that?
Yeah.
The figure skating community tries to take out people by breaking their knees.
And that's ripe for comedy for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. People get vicious about it, man.
People get vicious.
But here's the other thing. It might just be incompetence.
Most likely it's incompetence.
Somebody was just up.
Most likely someone made a mistake. Most likely.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, when you know about things that have happened, you know about false flags, you know about all kinds of shit that happens, you always got to wonder. And if we do find out, here's worst case scenario. What if a foreign government has figured out a way to hack in to our equipment and they can get a helicopter to fly right into a plane?
Oh, like this was a test run?
What if this is like proof of concept?
See, I think a better conspiracy would be if we found out that it was like Delta was behind it. You know what I mean?
Delta tried to take out American Airlines?
Or like Alaska was like, yo,
No.
we're going to ruin their reputation.
But if you were a foreign country and you wanted to demonstrate that you have technical superiority over people, how would you do it? Well, first of all, you'd lay the groundwork, right? This is one thing they definitely did, right? Where's that lighter, bro? With that? Thank you, sir. You lay the groundwork, and the groundwork is sell them all the shit they need. Sell them all the shit they need. And some of the shit you sell them, put a little back door in there. Put a little back door in there. And they've been doing that. That's a fact. That's why Huawei was banned from the United States. They banned Huawei phones. They were the most sophisticated phones.
Oh, man,
they were coming out of China.
Awesome.
They were so good.
They was great. Yeah.
I've told this before. Forgive me if you heard it before, but I tried to buy a Porsche design Huawei phone. It was an amazing phone. It was like so much more advanced than iPhones. It had a bigger battery. It had like a 100 megapixel camera. And then right before it was coming out, they put the ban. And then there's all these national security concerns, and Huawei is like spying on Americans, and something about their routers and their systems. They figured out there's like backdoor possibilities that were engineered into these things. So they sold us cell phone towers and computer chips and all this stuff and all the components that you need to run your AI. So wouldn't it make sense that if they're a part of it, they're integrated into it physically, and we know they put back doors on things, wouldn't you put back doors on the stuff that you're putting into jets? Wouldn't you it's like, who's making that stuff? Who's making all those electronics that are inside the jets?
I think we make those.
Do you think we make the chips? Do you think we make the chips? Do you think we make, what do we make? Do we make the hard drives? Are you sure? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do we make the processors?
It just seems like it would be the smart thing to do.
It would be a very smart thing to do.
For
But
your
do we
military
make do we make the processors? Or have there been installed some sort of electronical backdoor into almost everything that we have?
Oh man, that is a place to go. He even pulled up the facts on the whole remote control type of thing. But I think by the time you're done this episode, I don't think you're going to be leaning in that direction. But hey, that's why we wear the tinfoil Speedos, okay? Keeps us dynamic. We can lean whichever way we want when we have the tinfoil Speedo on. We can go deep. We can stay surface. We can do whatever. And then when it comes to technological backdoors, of course, that's a thing. I think that's how the Israelis blew up those pagers, because there was maybe that was just hacking, but I guess a backdoor is just a intentional hack portal per se. So I guess that makes sense. And then somebody very important on board. I mean, hey, listen, it's funny because when not funny, but when the reports first came out, these people who were reporting on this whole thing, they're pretty jaded to the whole thing. So they're just like, oh, there was no VIPs on board. No VIPs on board. Everyone that passed away was just normal civilian. And of course, there were certain people, because you see that these are kids that passed away, right? And, somebody was like, everybody on board was somebody's very important person, which is 100% true. But we all know what Joe means, some guy who's like, I have photos of these people and I'm just in the back of the plane and I had to take this plane, to be in secrecy. And, there was nobody like that on board that we know of. For right now, we know it was just figure skaters. And that is more sad, in my opinion. It's crazy, especially when you have a kid. Like I have a kid now. And then when you see someone losing their kids, you're like, oh, it's like a horror movie, absolute horror movie. But planes flown remotely, that is a thing. It would have to be a thing. I'm not even surprised by that. And it's not because I keep my tinfoil Speedo on all the time. I would be surprised if they couldn't. Well, why wouldn't you be able to do that? That's just a thing that you can do. But, we're going to go through everything so you get a clearer picture on what's going on. All right, so who was on board of these two flights? They're just going with the crew in this one. So this was the captain on American Airlines. His name was Jonathan Campos. Then he had his first officer with him, Sam Lilly, which I saw this on X, and the person's father actually released a statement saying that he was a Christian and that he was right with Jesus, and the father was able to take a little bit of solace in that. So there you go for rest in peace. And then this person here, U.S. Army Black Hawk Captain Rebecca M. Lobach. I think I'm saying that right. We're going to get back to her in a second. And then we have instructor pilot Andrew Eves, passed away again, rest in peace. And another crew member, crew chief Ryan O'Hara, also father, husband, man. Oh, man. Crazy to think of leaving your kids, man. I get chills thinking of being old and leaving grown kids. This guy clearly had young kids. Just wild. But we are going to circle back to her. A lot of people, they wanted the names of the pilots right away. I even had a little back and forth with people on X because they were like, the names need to be released right away. And there's various people that were saying this. And yes and no. I mean, I feel like you're going to want, the families should be handled first. You have to break it to them. First of all, you got to be the person that's breaking this to all these families. Then we're just talking about the Black Hawk helicopter. You're breaking it to all these families there. You're trying to get them through all this. Any lawsuits that might pop up, anger issues that pop, anything that pops up, you got to deal with that first. Then you got to turn to American Airlines and deal with all of those families. Joe Rogan was talking about 60. It's at least 100 people, more if you count extended family and grandparents that are all affected. So now you have to deal with all that. And it's like, I get you want to get to the whole, piecing things together. And, I want to do that too. But obviously they're going to deal with the families first and then release stuff to the public. All of us who just want to get clicks and views, we definitely come second, third, fourth, fifth, or not at all in some circumstances. So completely understandable. But we get back to her. A lot of people are pointing to the fact that she was actually an aide during the Biden administration. She was a White House aide. People are trying to connect her to LGBT and all this stuff. I'm I understand where they're trying to go. They're trying to see who was this person, right? So this is her, and that's her. She's in the White House there. And then this is her with, some people who are rainbow affiliated and whatnot. But I don't know. For this one, as I show you all the stuff, I'm not really leaning towards anything too crazy, too tinfoil speedo-y, but I keep it on just in case. We're going through some clips here. I got at least 9 clips to go through. We'll start here with the actual flight path. This is what was supposed to happen, and then also what did happen. So just listen to this. There's not much in regards to audio, so I'm just gonna play so that was the initial, that's somebody's dash cam. They saw a little spark in the air, which was a tragedy happening. Little did they know. While the cause remains unclear, this is them removing the wreckage because it did fall into that water, like Rogan was talking about. So this is what was supposed to be happening. You're seeing flight paths. This is what was supposed to be happening, right? It's supposed to land around 9 p.m. Right? They get a closer view. Ronald Reagan, Washington Airport. That's one runway. I think we're going to hear some audio around here on runway 33 instead. Let me just back up for a second. Hold on. Control asked pilots if they could land on runway 33 instead. Okay. That number, The audio.
Tower 6342 on Mount Vernon visual runway 1.
Lucia 5342, Washington Tower 1 star 32 Zurich 17, gust 25, you check runway 33.
Yeah, we can do 33 for Blue 6342.
Lucia 5342, at the Wilson Bridge, change the curve runway 33, clear to land.
Let me just go back a little bit.
Change the curve runway 33, clear to land.
I'm just going to read off what they're saying. Less than 30 seconds later, before the crash at 8:47, an air traffic control asked the helicopter arriving. The military helicopter, referred to as PAT 2-5. Let's keep going.
At 25 is CRJ in flight. At 25, have fun is CRJ. Aircraft in flight, press separation.
There was no response. And then, as you can see, that's when the tragedy struck. So there was no response. I would imagine that they were probably panicking, because at that point you can see the other object. And are you trying to veer away? Are you just in panic mode? What's happening there is unclear. I don't know if helicopters have a black box, but so there was no response. So and then they're asking, hey, do you see that what they're calling it is a CRJ in sight?
CRJ in sight. At 25, have fun.
And then they say pass behind it. So right now they're saying, hey, do you see this? And they're like, yeah, pass behind it. So they're figuring they're going to do a little bit of this and just go around it. They're just going to keep on going because they're going to hit runway 33 from what I can imagine. And that's what was supposed to happen. But as you know, and I don't have to show that over and over again, that is not what took place. Let's just move past this, see if they show anything else. So no, they don't tell anything else. But that was what was supposed to happen. People were shocked, of course, on the ground who were actually watching this. And that's what took place, I am a little taken back by that number that kept popping up, but we'll stay away from that for a second. Let me play what Trump is about to say here, because he's talking about the FFA and he's talking about diversity. He's talking about DEI and what role that played, because that girl that you see that I showed you, Rebecca, I believe it was about 500 or under 500 hours of flight time. Now, she wasn't the only person on the aircraft, but that's not a lot. That's not a super experienced person, which makes sense because she was just an aide under the Biden administration. So how long does she really have to get sorted in this type of thing? The other people and how much flight time they have logged has not been spoken about. I will say that people, and I try to stay, even though I have my biases, and I'm not on the side of DEI, and I'm on the side of Trump, and I'm not on the side of woke people. I will say that what I've been able to find has been kind of one-sided. They've been focusing on the one person who was a White House aide, and I get that, but I would love to know what the pilot had in terms of flight hours and what the other person had that was there. I believe it was Eves and O'Hara. I wonder how much flight time they all had, or were they all low in flight time? That's something that really does need to be flushed out. I wasn't able to find anything on that. Let's play this clip.
Have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened, because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of the Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
Wow. I didn't know Trump said that. He's not playing around, man. I know it's a half sad situation. Well, it's a sad situation, but also, we're getting into what a lot of people are gravitating towards, which is the whole DEI aspect, which is something that the Trump administration has been tackling pretty hardcore. And some people might see this clip alongside what I've shown you and what I'm telling you in terms of people that pass, and when Rogan's talking about figure skaters and everything, and they might see this clip as a little heartless, a little crass, a little cold. But at the same time, when this type of stuff happens, and it's easily preventable if you just hire people who are more experienced instead of just filling quotas of races and different blocks of people that you just want to see there. You know, this is the hard truth that you have to confront. You know, and I don't think Trump is off in that. A lot of people looked at this and they kind of acted as if Trump was off on this. You know, obviously a lot of people on the left are focusing on that. You know, of course, I'm going to play a little clip of CNN. You can hear their mental gymnastics in their little Willy Wonka world that they broadcast from about what they think about Trump saying stuff like this.
What he is saying is that the only people who are competent to run anything in this country are white men. That's what he's saying. He's saying that because the FAA has hired women and black people, that our nation's safety is at risk. It's kind of incredible that a president of the United States can say that. But let's examine why he's saying it. Why did he come out so quickly to try to attack women and black people for ruining the FAA? He did that because he is very vulnerable. He has some big questions to answer because the FAA has been in chaos, in crisis, since he took over. Elon Musk, his co-president, forced out the FAA administrators. So for the last week, we have been leaderless at the FAA. We have had no one in charge of the FAA. Trump fired, upon taking office, the entire FAA Safety Advisory Board. He spent the last week trying to push federal employees out the door, including people at the FAA, trying to bully them into accepting offers to resign. And so we got reports that the control tower was not normal on the night of the crash. Well, that stands to reason because the FAA has been in meltdown since Trump took over. He knows that he would have to answer for that. So instead of actually explaining why he left the FAA leaderless and without any direction, in chaos, he's blaming black people and blaming women who work at the FAA without any evidence. Of course, he has no evidence that that's true because it's not true. And, you know, who knows? Let's see what the real reason is here. But this could be a cover-up.
Oh, man, should have gave him another 10 seconds to mention women and black people again. 1 minute and 44 seconds. This guy brings up women and black people 3 times. Hey, are you sure it's not you that has a problem with women and black people? You're bringing them up an awful lot. I love CNN. 2 white guys sitting there. Give up your chair, bro. Sure, there's some black person just working some random job all around you. Just get up and let them sit down and handle business. Since it's such an issue, you know what I mean? So silly. But just to address what he just said, yeah, obviously, I have to tell you guys, Elon Musk is not the co-president, okay? I have told people time and time again, he is the Illuminati representative. He is the one that parlays and speaks with the lizard people, okay? I've made this so clear. Are you none of you tagging CNN in the stuff that, you know, you got to tag CNN. The Coach News Network taking over. I'm going to take over one day. But he's not the co-president. Women and black people, you brought it up way too much. The focus isn't he's not saying that women and black people are the problem. It's people who are inexperienced. And that's the thing. That's the way they twist the whole DEI conversation, is they make it about race when it's really about experience. And it's just about who, and then beyond, you know, no, I shouldn't say beyond experience, but adjacent to experience is who actually has the qualifications, you know? It's very interesting the way they do this. It's like, oh, so yeah, he has a problem with women and black people. And then on top of that, it's not just black people. They're hiring Indian people and they're hiring all races. And what Trump was reading, they're hiring people with disabilities as well. So where does this ableist get off just mentioning women and black people? Absolutely ridiculous. Now, when he's talking about people that have been forced to resign, what he's talking about is Trump sent out a massive email to everyone that was working from home. Come into work, or all you have to do is reply, resign. And then you resign and you get paid out until September, 7 months of pay. That's what he's talking about. So saying that these people who were working from home, who weren't really working all that much, having those people resign is what's throwing everything into a whole tizzy at the FFA. FAA. That's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And on top of that, he's saying that there's no director, but there is an acting director. They just got rid of the director that they had, and there's good reason of why they did. Check out Ted Cruz talking with the man who is in charge. Listen to this.
You ever flown a plane?
Thank you for the question, Senator. No, I have never flown a plane.
So you weren't a military pilot or a commercial airline pilot?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked for an airline?
No, Senator.
Have you ever worked as an air traffic controller?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that manufactures airplanes?
No, Senator.
You ever worked for a company that fixes airplanes?
No, Senator.
FAA administrator is a specialized position. I'm not qualified to be FAA administrator. I have no idea how to fly a plane. No one in their right mind would put me in charge of aviation safety because I don't have that experience. I suspect most of the members of this committee are in a similar position. The American people, when they think about aviation safety, when they think about, I played in this committee, a Southwest Airlines and FedEx plane almost colliding at Austin's airport. They want an FAA administrator who knows why those planes crash and knows how to fix it to keep them safe. And with all respect, Mr. Washington, it gives no comfort to the flying public that their pilot might be a transgendered witch, but doesn't actually know how to prevent the plane from crashing into the ground and killing them. I believe your record is woefully lacking. And in fact, you have zero aviation safety experience.
And his reply is just like, yes, but I am black. So I just want to, for the record, if we can have that on record, I am black. So I don't really understand why everybody's being racist in this room. Look at that guy. He's just there. Listen, hey, forget about it. If he could do the job, here, let me just do this. Here, boom. It's me. Hi. I have no experience either. When do I get to start? You ever flown a plane? No. And in fact, I've only been on a plane about 5 times in my life. So when do I start? Is it 6 figures that I get? Fantastic. Absolutely crazy. That's not the only thing that happened, though. He actually had to talk to another person as well. They were questioning him.
So, Mr. Washington, can you quickly tell me what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder?
Not sure I can answer that question right now.
That's okay. We'll just keep going. So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace that protect this national security that appear on FAA charts?
Sorry, Senator, I cannot answer that question.
Okay. So what are the operational limitations of a pilot flying under basic med?
Senator, I'm not a pilot, so...
but obviously you'd oversee the Federal Aviation Administration. So any idea what those restrictions are under basic med, quickly?
Well, some of the restrictions I think would be high blood pressure. Some of them would be...
It's more like how many passengers per airplane, how many pounds in different categories, and what altitude you can fly under. So, and then amount of knots. It's under 250 knots. So, it's not having anything to do with blood pressure. So, can you tell me what causes an aircraft to spin or to stall?
Again, Senator, I'm not a pilot.
Okay, let's keep going. What are the 3 aircraft certifications the FAA requires as part of the manufacturing process? Quickly, please. 3 aircraft certifications.
Again, what I would say to that is that one of my first priorities would be to fully implement that Certification Act and report
You know
back
the 3
to this
types,
committee.
Mr. Washington? The 3
No.
types? Okay. Yeah, that's type certificate, production certificate, and airworthiness certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Let's just keep going, see if we can get lucky here. So can you tell me what the minimum separation distance is for landing and departing airliners during the daytime, Mr. Washington?
I don't want to guess on that, Senator.
Are you familiar with the difference between Part 107 and Part 44809 when it comes to unmanned aerial standards? Unmanned aerial unmanned, like drones? Are you familiar with the
Yes,
difference?
yes.
Okay. You know the difference between those two, Part 44809 and Part 107? Do you know the difference there?
No, I cannot.
That's okay.
Let's see if we can get lucky here. Oh my gosh. Honestly, what does that guy do all day? What does he do? I wonder what he does and no shade to him. They gave him the job. That's the problem with this whole thing. If you don't have the experience, they will still give you the job. Somebody actually commented on what this director actually needs, the basic standard. 1 year aviation experience, extensive experience in the aviation industry, including the knowledge of aviation operations, safety standards, and regulatory requirements, background in piloting, air traffic control, and or aviation management. He has none of those. None. And all of you just sit back and laugh when I say that you can be congressmen and senators. Just remember that. What? You think he's the only one that doesn't know what he's doing? Oh, you think he's the only one that's not qualified? I'm telling you, one of you needs to go be a congressman. They got junior congressmen. You go be a junior congressman. You become a congressman. You're a normal person. You're a good person. Go do it. I'm telling you, you could do it. Be a senator. Wherever you're at, if you've been in your state for 7 years, you're an American citizen, you're good to go. Just start going. And they won't even know what to do with you when you come to apply. They'll be like, how does this person know? How does he know? And they'll have to at least help you get the wheels in motion. They'll have to put you in the right direction. You could do it. You kidding me? This guy doesn't know anything. He's just a guy. They could have pulled a random guy off the street and asked him the same questions, and he would have answered the same way. It's crazy. So when they talk about DEI being a problem, it is something to really consider. Here's Trump talking about it some more.
Your executive order, you've already issued an executive order. You say will restore aviation safety.
Right.
This crash happened after that. Was the executive order successful, and what more needs to change to keep people safe?
Well, we issued it 3 days ago, and we're in the process of making those changes. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. Actually, my original order should have never been changed, and I think maybe you wouldn't have had this problem. Maybe.
And a lot of people get mad that he's saying that. Again, they go back to the whole, well, this guy must have a problem with women and black people. But I think he's right. I mean, the director is a clear indication that there was some kind of DEI process going on. And then imagine who he was hiring, or whoever is below him handling everything. Imagine who they're hiring, And I'm not saying you shouldn't give people a chance. You definitely should, Hey, listen. I'm somebody who I wanted a chance at Fox, anywhere doing journalism, doing camera work, audio. I wanted a chance. No place would give me a chance. And then I ended up doing this. It kind of shows that I could have done something, but not everybody's like this. Some people, you give them a camera and audio stuff and they don't know what they're doing, and they won't figure it out. It's hard. But you got to be able to give people a chance, but you give them a chance alongside people who are very experienced. That helps tremendously, and it helps them as well. There's nothing wrong with mentorship. Nothing. Even if it's a white guy. Oh, surprise. Anyway, let's play this next clip here.
Preventable disaster.
Oh, slow it down. I'm getting better at bringing down the speeds before the video starts, but I'm not perfect. Let's go.
This is the system has been under attack due to DEI and the FAA bowing to wokeness since 2010, since the Obama administration. The lack of staffing is directly attributable to the Obama administration terminating the lists of eligible, well-trained air traffic control statements in 36 universities across the country in 2013 because they were too white. The FAA also at the same time implemented an immunity program. So you think you're seeing legitimate statistics, you're not. In the old days, before 2010, the immunity program, if an air traffic controller got 2 airplanes too close, too many times, they would be decertified and retrained. Now, they're not. All they have to do within 48 hours of being noticed or being investigated for a potential separation error, they're called operational errors in the FAA, the controller just simply has to avail themselves of this program that gives them immunity. And when I say immunity, I mean immunity. The FAA cannot retrain these people. If somebody has a repetitive instance of malfeasance or lack of competency, the FAA, because of this immunity program, cannot rectify the situation. They have to basically allow the person to remain in the same position. It's very, very difficult for the FAA to retrain a controller, and it's attributed to, quite frankly, the union and the FAA working together to basically use this program to gerrymander the statistics of near-midair collisions. You mentioned that. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So the person you were just hearing speaking, he's actually a former air traffic controlman. Yeah, just that is going on. Now, is that the exact cause? That's exactly why I said I'd love to know what the other members of that crew, what their flight logs were, how many hours they have logged in throughout their careers. We don't know that. So we can't really chalk it up to that, but you can look at the FAA and see that this is something that they've been pushing quite a bit. I mean, this is not up for debate. President Trump has the paperwork. He's reading it, seeing how much DEI they actually do, and it ends up being a problem. And they were talking about this, and this is what he had to do in an effort to stop this type of stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Second, for your signature, we have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration's DEI and woke policies, what this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator, in this case, acting FAA administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done, and that we're ensuring that people hired within the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they're being hired into.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence over everything else instead of the DEI policies that were pursued by the Biden administration.
I think everyone understands that. And Obama.
Yes.
Both of them. Okay, but Biden much worse. Not even a contest. What they've done is just crazy in so many other ways. Okay?
Mr. President, to be clear, are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have. I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that. But we want the most competent people. We don't care what race they are. We want the most competent people, especially in those positions. And you're talking about extremely complex things. And if they don't have a great brain, a great power of the brain, they're not going to be very good at what they do, and bad things will happen.
What a world we're in where somebody says, the president says, we don't care what race they are, we just want competent people. And the actual reaction from half of the table is, wow, you're racist. I can't believe how racist you're being, how prejudiced you're being. Very interesting time we live in. The fact that it's been inverted so much. I mean, you go back to that day where Martin Luther King said that and everybody was able to agree and a tear came from people's eyes and they said, that's the ideal. And now when you talk about that same ideal, people are like, no. That's not what we want. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened, and I don't know how people accepted it. I mean, I guess, I got my tinfoil Speedo on. I mean, it's a way, divide and conquer, put people in boxes. You need them in as many boxes as possible because, they won't be able to stand properly, It's very interesting stuff. But there you go. I just wanted to bring that all to you. We're going a little long on the episode here. But I just wanted to bring that all to you. So, you know, you have what Joe was thinking and talking about, and then you also have all this information here. And you can make a proper decision. What do you actually think was going on? I think everything's possible, but as you know, get everything laid out and you see the director of the FAA and the fact that he had no experience at all. I mean, you have as much experience as he does after this episode. Wow. Ah, man. But yeah, make your decision in terms of what you think actually went on that day. I don't think we're going to know much more than we already do. It was a tragedy, you know, rest in peace to everyone that passed. And, you know, condolences to all the families. I mean, that's all you can really say at the end of this. And hopefully people start taking notice and they start ending these DEI programs. And again, I don't mean ending, giving minorities and women a chance. That's not what it means, but just allowing the most competent people to be brought on board, you know? And if one day it became an all white staff, you know, you can bring in a guy of a different race and he can learn. And that can happen, but it's like, I don't know. It's like they've just thrown that to the side completely. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it, man. Anyways, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, helps the channel tremendously. Other than that, I'm out.